Hello YouTubers, this is Cessnaace back again with another video. I'm having to start a new series this time because I'm so far behind on so many things. I've got over 30 CD ads, for example, that I haven't yet shown. A lot of domestic releases, but also imports from the UK, Germany, Poland, Sweden. You get the idea. Of course, way behind on showing vinyl. I have received thus far over 900 vinyl 7-inch singles from oldies.com. None of these have ever been played. The oldest stuff I found was released in 1968. It's the original release. The second oldest I have found is a reissue, but it was reissued at 72. And it plays perfectly. They all play perfectly. But I've also been adding titles that I pick up yesterday and today out at the flea market. Every week they get in new vinyl albums, picture discs, CDs, and 7-inch singles. In fact, this week they had in 4 crates of discs that they had bought. And they had been carrying LaserDiscs, and he had been marking them at $5, but he took to selling them to me for $3 because I was his primary LaserDisc purchaser. Finally got down to the point where the only thing he had left were LaserDiscs that I was never going to buy, either because of the title or because the jacket was in such rough shape. And I told him several times, if you see a jacket like this, I'm not going to buy it. So keep that in mind. He said, well, I'm getting out of the LaserDisc business. But then he came across a collection, a huge collection, and everything in the collection was pristine. And a lot of the titles he knew I would be interested in. So he bought about 300 titles, those that he thought I would have an interest in. Some titles he sold on eBay because they were extremely rare and expensive. For example, when he went in, he told me he saw a box set for the Beatles, and he assumed initially that it was an LP box set. He asked the guy, he said, no, that's a box set of rare Beatles LaserDiscs. He didn't bring that in to sell to me. He sold it on eBay for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But the 300 that he bought with me in mind are in the store now. They're down low and kind of hidden, so unless you know they're there, you won't see them. Jackets are pristine, and every single title I was coming across, I want this, I want this, I really have to have this, I have to have this, I have to have this, I have to have this. He wasn't there yesterday. His parents were. They were watching the store. And I told his father, I said, Bill really knows me. Anyway, some of these came from yesterday and today. Some of them came from ABC Lasers, a seller that I buy through from the LaserDisc database, or through the LaserDisc database. I have had really good luck with her. She is very good at grading, and her prices are reasonable. I generally don't pay more than $5 for LaserDisc that I buy from her. At yesterday and today, he marks everything $5, but he sells to me for $3. Guess it's tradition now because he's been doing that for so long. But I think it's funny, he said he was out of the LaserDisc business for good, and then suddenly he was back in the LaserDisc business when he found this collection. I'm going to start with a title that he picked up from this collection. Popeye cartoons. Landmark Laser Vision, which is a line from Republic Pictures home video. This disc contains 3 of the animated featurettes that the Fleischer Studio had made for release by Paramount in color. Now, Disney was also at that time producing, in addition to shorts, featurettes, animated featurettes. But it was a losing proposition because theaters paid the same price for a animated featurette as they did for an animated short. So if it was 7 minutes or 21 minutes or however long, if it was not a feature, they paid the same price. So most featurettes lost money. Well, all 3 of these are in color. On side one is in CLV and contains Popeye the Sailor meets Sinbad the Sailor, and chapter 2, Aladdin and his Wonderful Lamp. Then side 2 is in CAV and has 1 of these animated featurettes, Popeye the Sailor meets Alibaba's 40 Thieves. This is release number LV27554. Whenever I enter anything at my collection at the LaserDisc database, I check everything, because there have been times where manufacturer has not been determined because nobody entered in the mint marks, so I enter in my mint marks. But there have been times where mint marks have been entered in and the manufacturer has been determined, but I check my disc and the mint marks are different. So it was manufactured at multiple sites. And so you can go and look at the mint marks and you can tell whether you have it made of this plant or that plant or whatever. The most I've ever seen is are releases made at 3 different plants. And it's critical. This can be critical of which plant it was made at, because generally speaking, each plant made its own master disc, and the master disc never left the plant. For example, 1776, the restored version of 1776, was initially restored by Pioneer and released as part of their Pioneer Special Editions series. It was painstakingly restored. The shortest piece of film that they added to the restored version was 1 frame. Spent a lot of time and effort on that, but they did that because people at Pioneer noticed that the painted scan version of 1776 was in continual demand. So they decided to release a widescreen version that was restored. All of the extra footage put back in. The director's cut, essentially. All of that stuff was taken out when it was shown theatrically. Now, supposedly the same video master that Pioneer used was used by Columbia TriStar when they released it. But it's obviously used different disc masters, because the Pioneer version looks better. In fact, it looks stunning, and it sounds amazing. So even though the transfers are the same, the master discs aren't, and they look totally different and they sound totally different. So it makes a big difference. And also another example would be the Aliens box set, a special edition with extra footage put into it, and interviews with James Cameron and everybody. That release is notorious for a high rate of defect. For a long time it appeared that every copy that everyone had ever come across was defective in some way. Those discs were made by Sony's US plant, DADC. Had a lot of quality control problems starting around 95. But as it turned out, there were a small number that were made in Japan by Mitsubishi. The boxes look the same. The text on the back is exactly the same catalog number and everything. It's just the mint marks are different. Well, as it turns out, my copy was made by Mitsubishi, and it is flawless. If you go to LaserDisc database and look up that title, you're going to see reams of people who have reported defective copies. But mine's not. It was made somewhere else. And there were some titles that I added last night that I found were made at more sites than were indicated there, and some hadn't had any mint marks entered in, so I entered them in. First up, a film that I picked up at ABC Lasers. Again, no more than $5 for anything from them. Oh God, You Devil. George Burns plays both God and the devil. I believe this was the third film in the series. I had seen the first two theatrically, but I haven't seen this in any way, shape, manner, or form. Warner Home Video release 11418LV. I say that because there are many titles that had multiple releases. Terminator 2, I think, is the one that I've come across the most releases for worldwide. Like 20, 25 different releases. In the US alone, there were about a dozen. In Japan, there were a lot too. ABC Lasers. Nell from Fox. This is letterboxed, preserving the original aspect ratio of 2.35 to 1. This is... They used to be consistent with where they put the catalog number. You have to look on the spine. Release 8737-85. Another title from ABC Lasers. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. I used to have this on Betamax. I have it on VHS. Now I have it on LaserDisc. My favorite sequence in this film is the musical number with Steve Martin, Maxwell Silver Hammer. This features in the cast Peter Frampton, the Bee Gees, Frankie Howerd, Paul Nicholas, Donald Pleasance, Aerosmith, Steve Martin, Alice Cooper, Earth, Wind & Fire, and Billy Preston. MCA Home Video. Release 17004. Okay, this is one I picked up yesterday and today for $3. One of 3 science fiction films that I know that Charlton Heston starred in. I believe there were more. Of course, the original Planet of the Apes and Soylent Green, which has one of the most famous lines in science fiction motion picture history, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because some of you might not have seen the film yet. Please, if you comment down there in the comment section, do not give away that line because it's central to the plot. This is the Omega Man, which came out in '71. Kind of controversial there for '71. Okay, Added attraction, the featurette The Last Man Alive, The Omega Man, offers behind-the-scenes glimpses of filming and conversations with Charlton Heston and anthropologist Ashley Montague. The Omega Man is presented in a letterbox widescreen format, preserving the 2.35 to 1 scope aspect ratio of its original theatrical presentation. The black bar at the top and bottom of the screen are normal for this format. Warner Home Video. Release 11210. Even the spines on these are beautiful. This one is another one that I picked up at yesterday and today for $3. Kajamusha, Shadow Warrior. There are two different versions of this. The Japanese version and the international version. This is the international version, which runs 159 minutes. The Japanese release runs about 20 minutes longer. That was released on LaserDisc twice in Japan. I don't know what language options those releases offer. Presented in its original aspect ratio of approximately 1.85 to 1. Directed by Akira Kurosawa. Executive producers on the international version: Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas. Includes a letter from George Lucas, and there's a photo of Kurosawa, Francis Ford Coppola, and George Lucas. This is from Fox Video, release number 1109-85. Another one I picked up at yesterday and today for $3. We have this already on VHS and on DVD. I know the VHS version is pan and scan. This is letterboxed. Sticking with Charlton Heston from again, Midway. Now there are two different cuts of this movie, at least two different cuts. The theatrical cut, which is the one that's usually released on video, but there was also a television cut that had a lot of extra footage in it, mainly of family strife and so forth, and Heston's family. His character's family. This runs 2 hours and 12 minutes. Side 3 is CAV. Aspect ratio 2.35 to 1. MCA Universal Home Video. Release 12003. ABC Lasers. We have this on VHS in full screen and on DVD in widescreen. Now we have it on LaserDisc and widescreen, Men in Black. This is a THX certified transfer, and of course I always notice the Twin Towers, especially this time of year. This includes the bonus, or a bonus, music video. Okay. I'm going to prepare more to show. What's that? Ha 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 ha. Prince Jedi Master is going to get a kick out of one of these. Okay. From ABC Lasers. Quest for Fire. Saw this in the theater when it was originally released, which I guess makes me kind of unique because not many people saw it in its original theatrical release, at least in the US. This features in the cast Ray Don-Chong. Released by Fox Video, release number 1148-80. Fox usually has a lot of text on the back of their jackets, which is great. Learn things that way. This is the one that Prince Jedi Master is probably going to get a kick out of, because we had a running joke that we were sending emails to each other back and forth for a long time, creating our own titles for this series. And each subsequent title got longer and longer and longer. Strangely, all of the sequels were released on LaserDisc, but the original film that the sequels followed wasn't released on LaserDisc, at least in the US, and I don't think it was released anywhere on LaserDisc. But we have it restored version on VHS, so I'm not going to worry about it. But anyway, this is a sequel to Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. This is Killer Tomatoes Eat France. $3. Low-budget films tend to be filmed with the audio in ultra stereo. France, played by itself, and Fuzzy Tomato is played by I Am Seedless. And on top there you'll notice John Astin. When I was showing these to my wife, I love John Astin. Fox Video, release 1966-80. To me, the funniest sequel was Killer Tomatoes, the sequel, I think it was called, which was released on LaserDisc. The big running gag there is halfway into the making of the movie, they run out of money, and so they do product placements all over the place, and they make a gag out of it, and it's pretty funny the way they do it too. This is another one I picked up at Yesterday and Today for $3. The Last Voyage. That is Robert Stack, I believe. Yes. Dorothy Malone, George Sanders, Evan O'Brien, Tammy Marhugh, written and directed by Andrew L. Stone, in Metro color. From MGMUA Home Video, distributed by Image Entertainment, but it doesn't have an Image Entertainment catalog number, which always starts with an I or an ID at the beginning. This starts, well, this is ML101193 from MGMUA Home Video. Okay, I already have this film on LaserDisc, but it is the full screen transfer. I've seen it a lot. This is the letterbox version. I wish I had seen this film when it came out theatrically. I would drive by the theater and see it on the marquee, but I never actually went and saw it. And I still wish I had seen it that way. The Right Stuff. An excellent film about the early days of America's space program. from Warner Home Video, release 20027. Okay, ABC Lasers, Until the End of the World. This is obviously on 2 discs. It's thick. A lot of chapters. I believe I've said before, chapter encoding started with LaserDisc. Very first LaserDisc, which came out in '78. First home video format to offer stereo audio. The first home video format to offer bonus features. The first format that actively embraced letterboxing. Until the End of the World is presented in a matted widescreen format, preserving the aspect ratio of its original theatrical presentation. Runs 158 minutes. What that means is it was not shot in a true scope format, but it was hard matted when shown theatrically to give it a wide aspect ratio. So you're losing information at the top and the bottom, but that's not information you're meant to see. And in fact, when I saw The Nude Bomb, which I have on LaserDisc, which when it was shown on television was called The Return of Maxwell Smart. But anyway, I saw it theatrically, and it was supposed to be hard matted, but they didn't do that. And so I could see all the boob mics hanging down, and there's one where I think his name was Jaime, the robot, uses his super strength to pull a car. Well, you can see the cables pulling the car. So there's that. I have to get another batch ready. Try not to inadvertently show them to you before I show them to you, if that makes sense. Oh, jeez. I have another 40 at least. Okay, I've already added to my collection 2 sampler discs released by MGM-UA in their original jackets in pristine condition. Same for this, except it's a promotional sampler disc from Paramount Pictures. This includes, I think it's 12 segments. Each segment is devoted to a genre. You have Action Segment 1, for example, which covers Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, The Hunt for Red October, Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, Internal Affairs, 3 Days with the Condor, Another 48 Hours, Days of Thunder, and then they have Romance Segment 1, Comedy Segment 1, Drama Segment 1, Action Segment 2, Romance Segment 2, Drama Segment 2, Action Segment 3, Romance Segment 3, Comedy Segment 2, Drama Segment 3, Action Segment 4. None of these have any kind of commentary. They're just footage edited together. The first 5 Star Trek films are in here. I can't remember when this came out. It indicated at the database. Usually, if you can find where it says packaging and summary copyright date, it'll generally give you a good idea of when it was released. But anyway, this is from Paramount, release number LV 26349. ABC Lasers, Lucky Stiff. Produced by New Line Cinema, but this was before they were a full-fledged distribution company, or had a distribution arm, or whatever. Distributed by RCA, Columbia Pictures Home Video, which was started around the same time that RCA was marketing the CED format. They went in partnership with Columbia Pictures to form RCA, Columbia Pictures Home Video, so that they would have an arm that would distribute films across all platforms: VHS, Betamax, LaserDisc. Okay. RCA, Columbia Pictures Home Video, release 32827. I don't know what possessed me to buy this, other than it looks like an early Image Entertainment release. Lone Runner. Bought this from ABC Lasers. I didn't pay more than $2 or $3 for this. Media Home Entertainment was the first non-porn company they licensed product from. Image started as a distributor of porn on LaserDisc. There is a lot of porn on LaserDisc. Notice this reputable practice they had started after the CD format became big. They started referring to the LaserDisc format as CD video, and it's not. I mean, you frequently have digital audio, but the picture on a LaserDisc is always analog, although the best analog you're going to find. Side 2 and CAV. They also used the name LaserVision and LaserDisc, and Magnavox used Magnavision. MCA initially used DiscoVision. So it was no wonder that the format really didn't take off in the US, because it was known by so many different names. And quality control in the beginning, when it was DiscoVision, was horrendous. But Pioneer really cleaned up all the problems with LaserDisc format, although occasionally problems would arise. Image was a distributor in addition to being a publisher. Same with Pioneer. Pioneer went the extra step and also made LaserDiscs and made players. Image didn't do either of those two things. But Pioneer and Image were major competitors in the US as distributors. They were the two largest distributors. Some studios self-distributed, but most of the companies initially went with Paramount. Paramount, for example, was one of the many companies that went with Pioneer. But gradually, as Image got bigger and bigger and bigger, more and more studios moved over to Image. So you had the strange anomaly of Image as the distributor of porn on LaserDisc and of Disney films. Well, they used a different name generally. I think it was LaserDisc Entertainment for their porn titles. But then they would have a big lettering distributed exclusively by Image Entertainment. But after they signed their contract with Disney, they got smaller and smaller and smaller. This I picked up at ABC Lasers, widescreen edition of The Longest Day. 2 discs. Gatefold jacket. Making sounds as if it had never or rarely been opened. This is CBS Fox video release 1021-80. I've got a lot of Criterion Collection releases. And the thing about Criterion Collection, it's a joint venture between the Voyager Company and Janus Films. They not only numbered each release and were very consistent with their numbering, but they would indicate which printing it was. If they went to a second or a third printing, they would note that on the jacket. So you would know if you were getting a first printing or a second printing or a third printing. This is The Lady Vanishes. And some people have a problem with the way the Criterion Collection was handled. Kind of elitist. But they were the first publisher to consistently come out with special editions and widescreen, original aspect ratio releases, and so forth. Okay. This is the second printing because it says first printing 1986, second printing 1989. Catalog number CC1108L, and then the ISBN. Manufactured by Pioneer Video, made in USA. You're not going to be able to see it with my funky camera, but there's the printing information. You want to add that to my Criterion collection? Okay, I have a lot of Looney Tunes LaserDiscs, but I didn't have this one. Curtain Calls. Remember if I said I picked this up at yesterday and today? $3. Classic Warner Brothers musical and show business cartoons, which includes Rabbit of Seville, One Froggy Evening, which I have on at least 2 other releases, Academy Award-winning cartoon, Hillbilly here, Curtain Raiser, What's Up Doc, Nellie's Folly, The Scarlet Pumpernickel, I also have another collection, Showbiz Bugs, Three Little Bops, one of only 2 Warner Brothers cartoons to credit someone other than Mel Blanc as the voice, the character doing the voices. All the voices were done by satirist Stan Freberg, and in fact he did voices of some of the lesser known but regular characters on that show, and he still does the same voices for the Looney Tunes show. But anyway, he sang this in addition to doing the voices, the Three Little Bops, modernized version of Three Little Pigs. Baton Bunny, High Note, Long-Haired Hare, Tweety Circus, and the Academy Award winning What's Opera, Doc? from Warner Home Video, release 12586. Okay, that box is way past full. You know what? I'm going to stop right now because, I mean, I have a lot to go through, including a lot of Hong Kong releases, so that'll have to be in an upcoming video. And I'm expecting 2 more packages of 100 7-inch vinyl singles each. I'm waiting on a package of imported 7-inch vinyl singles from Denmark, but some were made in Finland and elsewhere. I've got CDs coming. I've got a lot of things coming. A lot of things left to show. So, should I or shouldn't I? Well, I can show the back real fast. Maybe some of you out there will know which Hong Kong film that's from. Okay, until next time, stay awesome.